Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's jump right in. It's April 7th, 2025. And as always, we're going to be taking a look at some of the most important developments and really just kind of dig into what matters most for your UPSC prep. You know, some of these things we've touched on before, so think of this as a bit of a refresher, a bit of a, review and some new stuff as well.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's see. On our agenda today, we have Delhi finally implementing Ayushman Jan Arogya Yojana.
Okay.
We've got the fire at the Mukundra Hills Tiger Reserve, the Ream Naval Base expansion. Then there's the new Pamban Bridge inauguration.
Yeah.
Oh, and that whole star rating system for state environmental bodies, which we'll get into that.
Right.
Also, we'll look at the flowerpot snake.
Interesting.
Yeah. Its genome is pretty wild. We'll also be talking about the Saryu River, the discovery of antimony in Balochistan, India's ranking in the Technology and Innovation Report 2025, with a focus on AI, and lastly, the visit of Pakistani citizens to the Dwarkadhish Temple. So, first up, let's talk about Delhi joining the Ayushman Bharat Jan Arogya Yojana.
Yeah, so what's interesting here is that Delhi's finally signed an OU with the National Health Authority, making them the 35th state, or UT, to implement this scheme.
Wow, 35.
Yeah, it is pretty significant. Only West Bengal remains outside the program now.
Really makes you wonder what their strategy is, right? I mean, this is being hailed as, the world's largest health assurance scheme. It was launched back in 2018 on September 23rd, if anyone's keeping track.
It is huge. The goal is to provide affordable health care to those who need it most.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they've got a pretty comprehensive plan in place.
Oh, definitely. They're offering free and cashless treatment for 1,961 medical procedures. And that covers 27 specialties, medicines, diagnostics, hospitalization, ICU, even surgeries.
So we're talking a whole lot of coverage here.
Yes.
And the financial coverage is substantial too, right?
Yeah.
Each family gets up to 10 lakh per year.
That's right. It's a shared responsibility, though. 5 lakh comes from the central government, and the other 5 lakh is topped up by the state. So in this case, the Delhi government.
Got it. So who's managing all of this?
The National Health Authority, or NHA. They're the ones overseeing the implementation and making sure everything runs smoothly. Their target is ambitious too, over 55 crore beneficiaries, which is about 12 crore families. That's a significant chunk of the vulnerable population.
It really is, and it looks like it's having a positive impact. Studies are showing that out-of-pocket healthcare expenses have dropped considerably, from 62% back in 2014 to about 38% now.
That's a huge difference.
Huge. Okay, so how do people actually access these benefits?
Well, they have the Ayushman Bharat card. It's essentially their health insurance card, which they can use at impaneled hospitals to get free treatment.
And how do you qualify for that?
You generally have to belong to a low-income household, be part of a vulnerable group, or be listed in the SECC database.
All right, good to know. Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk about something a bit more concerning. The fire at the Mukundra Hills Tiger Reserve.
Right. A pretty bad one, too. Apparently it started because of some sparks from nearby stone crushing.
And this is near Kota in southeastern Rajasthan.
Right, exactly. Mukundra Hills gets its name from 2 flat-topped hills running parallel to each other. They're part of the Vindhyan Range, which stretches all the way from the Chambal River.
Ah, the Chambal.
Yeah. The reserve itself is relatively new, established in 2013. It combines Mukundra National Park, Dara Sanctuary, Jawahar Sagar Sanctuary, and a part of the Chambal Sanctuary, creating a core tiger habitat.
Interesting. And wasn't this area once a hunting ground for the Maharaja of Kota?
It was. And ecologically, it's pretty fascinating. There are 4 rivers flowing through it.
Huh.
The Chambal, Kali, Ahu, and Ramzan.
Wow, that's a lot of water.
It is. The vegetation is mostly dry deciduous forest, with the dominant species being Anogesis pendula, also known as Kala Dok. But you'll find Kher, Bear, Kakan, and Ranj too.
And in terms of animals?
Oh, it's a haven for all sorts. Leopards, sloth bears, nilgai, chinkara, spotted deer, civets, jungle cats, hyenas, you name it.
Sounds like a biodiversity hotspot.
Yeah.
So for our notes, Mukundra Hills is in southeastern Rajasthan by the Chambal River and part of the Vindhyan Range.
That's it.
Now let's zoom out a bit and talk geopolitics. Specifically, the expansion of the Ream Naval Base in Cambodia.
Right. This base is on the Gulf of Thailand coast near Sihanoukville. And it's been in the news because of China's involvement in its expansion.
They've been providing a lot of financial and technical support, haven't they?
They have. The expanded base was just inaugurated on April 5th, 2025.
And of course, this has raised a lot of eyebrows internationally.
Of course. Cambodia says it's purely for their own defense, but many are worried about the implications of a long-term Chinese military presence there.
Especially considering the location.
Exactly. It's very close to the Malacca Strait, which is a major shipping route. Some see this as China trying to get a foothold in the Indo-Pacific, maybe even encircle India.
A strategic encirclement. That's a chilling thought.
It is, and it's not just speculation. There have been reports and images of Chinese warships at the base.
So what does this mean for India?
Well, it definitely complicates things. It could make it harder for our Navy to operate in the region, especially during a conflict. We might need to rethink our strategies, maybe strengthen our presence in places like the Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
So basically, we need to up our game in the Indian Ocean.
In a way, yes. The Ream base may not be as powerful as, say, the U.S. Naval Base Norfolk, but its strategic location makes it a potential game changer.
Makes sense. Okay, on to some good news now. The Prime Minister just inaugurated the new Pamban Bridge.
Ah, yes, the Pamban Rail Bridge, or the Rameswaram Bridge. The original one is quite historic. It's a cantilever bridge that connects Rameswaram Island to mainland India. Opened in 1914.
A cantilever bridge. That's where the bridge is basically anchored at one end and then extends outwards, right?
That's right. So this modernization project has been going on since 2019, and it's finally finished as of March 2025. The most impressive addition is the new vertical lift span. This is a first for India, a vertical lift sea bridge. It increases the clearance for ships to 22 meters from the previous 19.
So ships can pass under it more easily.
Exactly. And there's now double-line electrification, meaning faster and more efficient train travel.
That's great. What about the old bridge, though?
Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be preserved as a heritage structure. It's served the nation well for over a century, after all.
It has. For a long time, it was the only way to get to Rameswaram Island.
Right. And of course, it's a crucial route for pilgrims visiting the Rameswaram Temple. It even played a part during the Sri Lankan Civil War, serving as an escape route for refugees.
Now, that's history in action. So the new bridge is for the future, and the old one represents the past.
I like that.
All right. Let's talk about the star rating system for state environmental bodies. This one's a bit of a head-scratcher.
Yeah, the MOE-FNCC introduced it back in January 2022. The idea was to evaluate how efficiently CEAs were giving out environmental clearances.
AZs being?
State Environmental Impact Assessment Authorities. Basically, they assess the potential impact of projects on the environment.
Got it. So this rating system was supposed to encourage faster approvals while still making sure environmental standards were met.
Exactly. But it ran in some serious opposition. Environmental groups like the Tamil Nadu Fishermen's Association were worried that it would compromise the environment in the name of speed.
So they felt that proper checks and balances might be ignored just to push projects through quickly?
That was their concern. They felt that sensitive areas would be particularly vulnerable.
And what happened?
Well, the NGT got involved, the National Green Tribunal. And ultimately, the MOE-FNCC decided to withdraw the original plan. For now, at least. It's possible they might come up with a revised version later. But the original star rating system, which was supposed to assess environmental performance based on compliance and sustainability, is dead in the water.
Interesting how these things evolve. Okay, let's move on to something a little lighter. The flowerpot snake. Now, this little guy has a really fascinating genetic quirk.
It does. It's one of the smallest snakes in the world, and it has 3 sets of chromosomes. Most organisms have 2, including us. The flowerpot snake has 40 chromosomes in total, arranged in 3 subgenomes.
3? That's unheard of, isn't it?
It's extremely rare. Scientists are studying its genome to figure out how it repairs its DNA and prevents mutations.
Because with 3 sets of chromosomes, there's more room for error, right?
Precisely. Understanding how this snake manages its genetic material could be groundbreaking. It might help us understand human gene evolution better, and maybe even shed some light on trisomy conditions like Down syndrome.
So this tiny snake could unlock some huge secrets about human genetics.
It's possible. So a little bit about the flowerpot snake itself. Its scientific name is Rhamphotyphlops brahminus. It's a harmless blind snake, non-venomous. It lives in tropical and subtropical areas and usually grows to about 10 to 20 centimeters long.
So pretty small.
Yeah, very small. It burrows and often lives in flower pots, hence the name. It eats small invertebrates, and because its eyes are non-functional, it's often mistaken for an earthworm.
I can see how that would happen.
Yeah.
So just to recap, it's not poisonous, only about 10 to 20 centimeters long,
Yeah.
and has a remarkable genetic makeup.
Absolutely.
Speaking of remarkable, let's talk about the Saryu River. There's been a huge influx of devotees there recently, taking a holy dip for Ram Navami.
Ah, the Saryu River. It's also known as Saryu or Sarju. It flows through Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh, and it holds a special place in Hindu mythology.
It's mentioned in the Vedas and the Ramayana, isn't it?
It is. It originates in the Himalayas at Sarmal in the Bageshwar district of Uttarakhand. From there, it travels through Kapkot, Bageshwar, and Saragat before meeting the Sharada River at Pancheshwar.
Which is on the border between India and Nepal.
That's right. Then the Sharada joins the Gagara River in Sitapur in Uttar Pradesh.
And the Gagara eventually becomes the Saryu again near Ayodhya.
Exactly. The section that flows through Ayodhya is the most important from a religious standpoint. The river is about 350 to 400 kilometers long, and of course Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Rama, is right on its banks.
So for our quick notes, Ayodhya is the major city on the Saryu. It flows through Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh and originates at Sarmul in Bageshwar, Uttarakhand.
You got it.
Now let's talk money. Pakistan has just announced the discovery of a huge deposit of antimony in Balochistan.
Antimony is an interesting one. It's a metalloid, so it has properties of both metals and nonmetals. Its chemical symbol is AB, and its atomic number is 51.
Okay, so not a metal, not a non-metal, something in between.
Right. It's a solid at room temperature, and it's a poor conductor of heat and electricity. When you find it in the market, it's usually in the form of ingots, broken pieces, granules, or casts.
And where is it found naturally?
Mainly in volcanic rock deposits and deep veins. The main ore is called stibnite. It's often extracted as a byproduct of lead-zinc-silver mining.
So it's not like there are mines dedicated solely to antimony.
Not usually. China is the biggest producer by far. They produce about 88% of the world's antimony. Then you have Bolivia, Russia, and Tajikistan.
And what do we actually use it for?
Oh, lots of things. In electronics, it's used for semiconductors, infrared detectors, and diodes. It's also alloyed with lead and other metals to make them harder and stronger. Think batteries, type metal for printing, bullets, cable sheathing.
That's quite a range.
It is. And then there are its compounds, which are used in flame retardants, paints, enamels, glass, and pottery.
So to sum up, it's not radioactive. Its symbol is SB, and its main ore is stibnite, also known as antimony trisulfide.
Correct.
All right. Now let's talk about the Technology and Innovation Report 2025.
This report is published by UNCTAD, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, and it looks at all sorts of things related to technology and innovation.
And India's ranking in AI investment is particularly interesting.
It is. In 2023, India ranked 10th globally in private AI investment.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. The theme of this year's report is inclusive AI for development. So they're really focusing on making sure this technology benefits everyone, not just a select few.
What are some of the key takeaways?
Well, one thing they highlight is the concentration of power in the AI industry. About 100 companies, mostly from the US and China, are responsible for 40% of all private AI research and development. They also point out that a lot of countries are being left out of the conversation about AI governance.
So it's not a very inclusive space at the moment.
Not really. And then there's the whole issue of AI's impact on jobs. The report estimates that up to 40% of jobs globally could be affected by AI.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is. But they also say that developing countries have some advantages. They have existing infrastructure data and the potential to develop the necessary skills.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, not at all. In fact, India and China are the only developing countries with significant private AI investment. The U.S. is still way ahead, though. They invested $67 billion in 2023. China invested $7.8 billion. And India, $1.4 billion.
So we're catching up.
Slowly but surely. And on a positive note, India's overall ranking in the Readiness for Frontier Technologies Index improved from 48th in 2022 to 36th in 2024.
So again, just to recap, the report is published by UNCTAD. India ranked 36th in the Readiness for Frontier Technologies Index in 2024. And India and China are the only developing nations with substantial AI investments.
That's right.
Last but not least, let's talk about the Dwarkadhish Temple.
Yeah.
A group of 300 Pakistani citizens of Indian origin from Sindh just visited the temple.
The Dwarkadhish Temple is in Dwarka, Gujarat. It's also called Jagat Mandir, and it's one of the most revered temples dedicated to Lord Krishna, who is worshipped there as Dwarkadhish, the king of Dwarka.
And it's one of the 4 Chardham pilgrimage sites, right?
It is. The original temple is believed to have been built around 200 BCE by Vajranabha, Lord Krishna's great-grandson. It was built over Lord Krishna's palace. It was later rebuilt and expanded in the 16th century.
Wow, that's ancient.
It is. The temple we see today is 5 stories high and stands on 72 pillars made of limestone and sand. The carvings on the walls are a testament to 16th century Chalukya architecture.
It's a push-to-mark temple, isn't it?
Yes, it follows the teachings of Vallabhacharya, and it's managed by his descendants.
Fascinating. So is there a connection with the Nathwara temple in Rajasthan?
There is. Nathwara is the main center of the Pushtamarg sect.
And the Dwarkadhish temple is also one of the 108 Divya Desams.
It is. These are the holy abodes of Lord Vishnu, and the Alwars Tamil poet saints have sung their praises. Dwarkadhish is the 98th Divya Desam, and it's been praised by 4 Alwars: Namalwar, Thirmangai Alwar, Thurmalisai Alwar, and Perialwar. The temple is also mentioned in the works of prominent figures like Adi Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, and Narsin Mehta.
So a truly important place. Just to be clear, it's located in Dwarka, Gujarat. It was originally built by Vajranabha, and its architecture is in the Chalukya style. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive today. We've explored a wide range of topics, from healthcare to geopolitics to religion to technology. I hope this has given you all a good overview of what's happening in the world and how it relates to your UPSC preparation. Some of these topics we've touched upon before, but revisiting them is always helpful. Remember, everything is connected. What happens in one corner of the world can have ripple effects elsewhere. So stay curious, stay informed, and keep asking questions. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And as you go about your day, think about this. With the rise of AI, how can we ensure that this powerful technology is used ethically and for the benefit of all?
It's a question we all need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. Until next time, happy studying, everyone.
Take care.